From food stamps to $19 billion, the untold WhatsApp story. In 1992, a teenage boy stood in line at a welfare office, clutching food stamps just to survive. 22 years later,
he stood in the same place signing a deal worth $19 billion.
This is the story of Koum, the man who built the app that changed the way the world talks. Koum was born in a small village in Ukraine. Back when it was still part of the Soviet Union, life there was simple but harsh. Homes had no running water, and freedom was a word whispered in secret. When Jan was 16, he and his mother left everything behind: friends, family, and the only home they knew. To start over in America, they arrived in California with almost nothing. Jan's mother cleaned houses. He swept floors at a grocery store. And to eat, they depended on food stamps. But Jan was hungry for more than food. He was hungry to learn. He taught himself computer programming from secondhand books at a used bookstore. No fancy degrees, no private tutors, just stubborn curiosity. Eventually, his skills landed him a job at Yahoo as a security tester. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a way out of poverty. After nearly a decade at Yahoo, Jan felt restless. Then, in 2009, he bought an iPhone and saw something most people missed. The App Store had just launched. Millions of people would soon have the internet in their pockets, and they would want to talk to each other. With his friend Brian Acton, Jan started building an app they called WhatsApp. The goal was simple: let people stay connected with friends anywhere in the world, without ads, without gimmicks, just connection. But the first version? It crashed constantly. No one wanted to invest. Some even told Jan it would never work around. The same time, Jan applied for a job at Facebook. They rejected him. So, he went back to building WhatsApp. Quietly, relentlessly. Within 2 years, it was spreading like wildfire. No ads, no games, just pure, private communication. And then, the irony, in 2014, Facebook came back. Not with a job offer, but with an acquisition offer, $19 billion. When the deal was done, Jan signed the papers on the steps of the welfare office where he once collected food stamps. From poverty to one of the largest tech acquisitions in history, without selling his soul to ads. Today, WhatsApp connects over 2 billion people around the world. And Jan? He walked away from Facebook in 2018, still a billionaire, still chasing new dreams. Koum's story isn't about getting rich. It's about grit, timing, and the courage to keep building when no one believes in you. So, what's your WhatsApp? The idea you're willing to protect until the world finally sees it. But here's where the fairy tale ends, and the real story begins. The cracks begin to show. For years after selling to Facebook, Koum walked into Mark Zuckerberg's office one final time. He didn't shake hands. He didn't say goodbye. He just quit. The man who built the world's most private messaging app had discovered something that would haunt him forever. Facebook was planning to break his promise. See, when Jan sold WhatsApp, he made one non-negotiable demand: no ads, ever. The app that connected his mother to her family back in Ukraine would never become a billboard. But by 2018, Facebook executives were drafting plans to monetize WhatsApp's 1.5 billion users. They wanted to insert ads between messages. They wanted to harvest phone numbers. They wanted to turn Jan's privacy sanctuary into another data mining operation. Jan fought back. In boardroom after boardroom, he reminded them of the promise. But Facebook wasn't interested in promises anymore. They were interested in profits. So Jan did something few billionaires ever do. He walked away from billions more. His resignation letter was posted on Facebook itself, dripping with irony. It's time for me to move on. What he didn't say publicly was far more damning. According to insiders, Jan told colleagues that Facebook was destroying everything we built. But Jan's departure was just the beginning of WhatsApp's descent into controversy, the spyware scandal that shook the world. May 2019. WhatsApp's security team detected something terrifying. Their unbreakable encryption had been broken, not by hackers in basements, but by governments using military-grade spyware called Pegasus. The attack was surgical. A missed WhatsApp call. That's all it took. No need to answer. The moment your phone rang with that call, Pegasus slithered into your device like a digital parasite. It could read your messages, track your location, turn on your camera, record your conversations. all while you had no idea you were being watched. The victims? Journalists exposing corruption, human rights lawyers defending the innocent, political dissidents fighting for democracy. At least 1,400 people across 20 countries had their lives dissected by invisible watchers. Among them was Jamal Khashoggi's inner circle, targeted just days before the Saudi journalist was murdered in a Turkish consulate. WhatsApp's response was swift and furious. They sued NSO Group, the Israeli company behind Pegasus, for $168 million. But the damage was done. The app that promised privacy had become a weapon of surveillance. And here's the twist that'll make your skin crawl. Governments weren't just buying this spyware. They were using it on their own citizens. Mexico spied on journalists investigating corruption. India monitored opposition leaders. Even Democratic allies were using Pegasus to silence critics. The irony was suffocating. Jan Koum, who fled Soviet surveillance as a teenager, had unknowingly created the platform that enabled a new generation of digital totalitarianism, the privacy paradox. But the Pegasus scandal was just the appetizer. The main course came in 2021 when WhatsApp announced new terms of service. The message was simple: accept our new privacy policy or lose access to your chats forever. Hidden in the legal jargon was a bombshell. WhatsApp would now share user data with Facebook
for targeted advertising, the very thing Koum had been fighting.
The backlash was instant and global. Millions deleted the app overnight. Competitors like Signal and Telegram gained 100 million users in weeks. WhatsApp tried to backtrack, claiming the changes only affected business accounts. But trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to repair. Here's what they didn't tell you. Even without reading your messages, WhatsApp was collecting metadata that painted a detailed portrait of your life, who you talk to when you're online, how often you message, your location patterns. This metadata, called envelope information by privacy experts, can be more revealing than the messages themselves. Intelligence agencies call it traffic analysis, and it's been used to map social networks, predict behavior, and identify dissidents. By 2024, researchers discovered that WhatsApp was inadvertently leaking device information during multi-device setup, allowing anyone monitoring network traffic to identify what phone, computer, or tablet you were using, the government weapon. As WhatsApp grew to 2 billion users, something sinister emerged. Governments weren't just spying through the app, they were weaponizing it. In India, WhatsApp became the primary vector for spreading fake news that sparked mob violence. Doctored videos and false rumors spread like wildfire through family groups, leading to lynchings and communal riots. In Brazil, political disinformation campaigns used WhatsApp to manipulate elections. Coordinated networks of bots flooded voter groups with propaganda designed to swing votes. During the 2020 US election, conspiracy theories about voting machines and ballot harvesting spread through WhatsApp's encrypted channels, invisible to fact-checkers and impossible to moderate. The app's end-to-end encryption, designed to protect privacy, had created the perfect storm for disinformation. Messages couldn't be monitored, fact-checked, or removed. Once false information entered the WhatsApp ecosystem, it spread unchecked. By 2025, the situation had become so dire that the U.S. House of Representatives banned WhatsApp from all government devices, citing unacceptable security and data protection risks. The ban wasn't just symbolic. Intelligence officials had discovered that foreign adversaries were using WhatsApp's vulnerabilities to conduct espionage operations against American officials. The zero-day nightmare March 2025 brought WhatsApp's worst security crisis yet: cybersecurity. Firm Checkpoint discovered a zero-day vulnerability that made every WhatsApp user a potential victim. The attack vector? A simple video file. Watch a malicious video sent through WhatsApp, and attackers could execute code on your device. No clicking required. No downloads necessary. Just viewing the video was enough to compromise your phone completely. The vulnerability had existed for months before discovery, meaning millions of users could have been infected without ever knowing it. WhatsApp patched the flaw within days, but security experts warned that more zero days were inevitable in such a complex system. This wasn't theoretical anymore. In 2024, researchers had already demonstrated how attackers could use WhatsApp's calling feature to deploy malware. The pattern was clear: WhatsApp's popularity had made it the most valuable target for cybercriminals and state actors. Each new feature, voice messages, video calls, document sharing, created new attack surfaces for sophisticated adversaries to exploit. The billionaire's regret. Today, Koum lives in relative obscurity in Silicon Valley, collecting vintage Porsches and avoiding the spotlight. Those close to him say he's haunted by what WhatsApp became, the app he built to connect his immigrant mother with family in Ukraine had transformed into a surveillance tool more sophisticated than anything the KGB ever dreamed of. In rare interviews, Jan speaks carefully about digital rights and data sovereignty. But insiders say he privately expresses deep regret about selling to Facebook. The $19 billion that once seemed like validation now feels like blood money. Every privacy scandal, every spyware attack, every government manipulation campaign bears his digital fingerprints. Brian Acton, WhatsApp's other co-founder, left Facebook even earlier than Jan. In 2017, he walked away from $850 million in unvested stock options to start the Signal Foundation, building the privacy-focused messaging app that many consider WhatsApp's spiritual successor. When asked about his decision, Acton's response was chilling. It's impossible to reform Facebook from within. The encryption wars. WhatsApp's current leadership finds itself fighting battles on multiple fronts. Governments worldwide are demanding backdoors to encryption, arguing that criminals and terrorists shouldn't have unbreakable communication tools. The UK's Online Safety Act, the EU's Digital Services Act, and similar laws in dozens of countries all contain provisions that could force WhatsApp to weaken its security. But cybersecurity experts warn that any backdoor, even one designed for law enforcement, creates vulnerabilities that can be exploited by criminals and foreign adversaries. It's a philosophical battle with no clean solutions. Strong encryption protects journalists, activists, and ordinary citizens from surveillance. But it also protects terrorists planning attacks, criminals coordinating heists, and child predators sharing illegal content. WhatsApp's response has been to strengthen encryption even further. In 2025, they introduced quantum-resistant cryptography, designed to withstand attacks from future quantum computers that could break current encryption methods. But each security enhancement creates new complexity, and complexity breeds vulnerabilities. It's an arms race where the stakes keep rising. The business model contradiction. The most fundamental problem with WhatsApp wasn't technical. It was philosophical. Koum built WhatsApp on a simple promise: pay $1 a year, get private messaging forever, no ads. It was a sustainable, honest business model that aligned the company's interests with users' interests. But Facebook didn't buy WhatsApp for $1 billion in annual subscription revenue. They bought it for data, attention, and advertising opportunities from 2 billion users. This created an irreconcilable conflict. Users wanted privacy. Facebook needed data to sell ads. Something had to give. The result was a series of increasingly desperate attempts to monetize WhatsApp without destroying it. Business messaging services for companies, payment features in certain countries, shopping integrations with Instagram and Facebook. Each new feature required collecting more data, building more complex infrastructure, and creating more potential privacy vulnerabilities. Meanwhile, competitors like Signal operated on donations and remained focused purely on privacy. Telegram monetized through premium subscriptions while maintaining basic privacy features. Both approaches seemed more sustainable than WhatsApp's contradictory position. The regulatory reckoning. By 2025, WhatsApp faces a regulatory apocalypse across multiple continents. In Europe, the Digital Markets Act has designated WhatsApp as a gatekeeper platform, subjecting it to strict interoperability requirements. Soon, users will be able to message WhatsApp users from competing apps, breaking down Meta's walled garden. The EU's Digital Services Act requires extensive content moderation, difficult for an encrypted platform that can't see users' messages. WhatsApp must somehow detect and remove illegal content while maintaining end-to-end encryption. In the United States, antitrust regulators are considering forcing Meta to sell WhatsApp, arguing that the acquisition was illegal and should be unwound. The case hinges on whether WhatsApp competes with Facebook Messenger and Instagram Direct, a question that could reshape the entire tech industry. China has banned WhatsApp entirely. forcing users to rely on domestic alternatives that provide full government access to messages. Russia has threatened similar bans unless WhatsApp provides law enforcement backdoors. India, WhatsApp's largest market with over 400 million users, has implemented new rules requiring social media companies to help law enforcement trace message origins. Impossible with true end-to-end encryption, each regulation forces WhatsApp to choose between privacy and market access. There may not be a path that preserves both. The technical debt crisis. Behind the scenes, WhatsApp is drowning in technical debt accumulated from years of rapid growth and changing requirements. The app was originally built for simple text messaging between individuals, supporting group chats, voice messages, video calls, file sharing, business accounts, and payment systems has created a tangled web of interconnected systems that's increasingly difficult to maintain securely. Each new feature creates potential interaction effects with existing features. A vulnerability in voice calls might affect text messaging. A bug in group management could compromise individual privacy settings. Security researchers estimate that WhatsApp's codebase contains millions of lines of code across multiple platforms: iOS, Android, desktop, and web. Managing security across such complexity is a nightmare that gets worse with each update. The fundamental architecture, designed when WhatsApp had millions of users, struggles to handle billions. Server load, encryption, key management, and message delivery at WhatsApp scale require constant engineering innovation. Meanwhile, simpler competitors like Signal benefit from clean architectures built specifically for privacy. They can implement security features that would be impossible for WhatsApp, given its legacy technical constraints. The human cost, lost in all the technical and business drama, are the human stories. Real people whose lives were changed by WhatsApp's transformation, journalists who trusted WhatsApp's encryption and were surveilled by their governments, activists whose locations were tracked through metadata analysis, families torn apart by misinformation campaigns, democracy advocates who watched their movements infiltrated by spies. Consider Maria Santos, a Brazilian journalist who investigated corruption in the Amazon. She used WhatsApp to coordinate with sources, believing her messages were private, but Pegasus spyware allowed government officials to read every message, identify her sources, and intimidate witnesses. Her investigation was killed, and several sources faced retaliation. Or think about the Rohingya refugees who watched false stories about their community spread through WhatsApp, fueling violence that forced them from their homes. The platform they used to stay connected with family became the weapon used to justify their persecution. These aren't abstract policy debates or theoretical security vulnerabilities. They're human tragedies enabled by the gap between WhatsApp's promises and reality. The future wars. Looking ahead, WhatsApp's challenges will only intensify. Artificial intelligence will create new attack vectors as deepfake technology makes misinformation more convincing and AI-powered surveillance becomes more sophisticated. Quantum computing threatens to break current encryption methods entirely, requiring a complete rebuild of cryptographic systems. Augmented reality and virtual reality features will create unprecedented privacy risks as platforms gain access to biometric data, spatial information, and behavioral patterns. Governments worldwide are developing new surveillance capabilities, specifically designed to penetrate encrypted messaging platforms. Meanwhile, younger users are abandoning WhatsApp for newer platforms like Discord, BeReal, and apps that haven't yet been discovered. Each generation seems to value different trade-offs between privacy, functionality, and social features. The reckoning. So here we are. The app that was supposed to connect the world privately has become the battleground for the future of digital communication. Jan Koum's dream of simple, private messaging has evolved into a complex geopolitical weapon that governments fight to control, criminals exploit for profit, and ordinary users can barely understand. The $19 billion acquisition that seemed like a validation of the American dream now looks like the moment tech's innocence died. The sale that was supposed to help WhatsApp reach everyone instead ensured it would serve no one completely. Perhaps the most tragic irony is this. WhatsApp solved the technical challenge of private communication at scale, but it couldn't solve the human challenge of building systems that serve users instead of exploiting them. But one thing is certain. The boy who once stood in line for food stamps and dreamed of connecting the world could never have imagined that his creation would become the center of a global battle for the future of privacy, security, and democracy itself. The real question isn't what WhatsApp will become. It's whether we'll learn from its transformation or repeat its mistakes with the next great communication platform. Because somewhere, right now, another teenager is teaching themselves to code from secondhand books, dreaming of connecting the world. Let's hope they're paying attention to what happened to the last one.